Hello YouTube, welcome back to the Basement Card Collector. Today's video is going to be a video response to a very cool channel out there in the YouTube world. RJ Collects Sets. And he is having a contest celebrating his 300th subscriber, and he has asked us to make a response based on the backs of baseball cards. I will get into the contest in just a second, but so you can see my backdrop here. I've made a slight change to some of my cards on display. I've turned them all backwards to kind of honor this giveaway, this contest. Up in the corner, you can see we have a Goose Gossage 89 Topps, a Sandberg 83 Topps, 1990 Upper Deck Larry Walker, my man Andre Dawson, Roger Craig, Charlie Ward, Steve Young in the other corner, just to kind of showcase the backs of the cards. RJ's contest is going to be something like this. He said pick a Hall of Famer, pick a solid player, a semi-star, star, and then a no-name, and then show the back with some kind of cool stat or fact that you wouldn't know unless you were to read the back. So what I have here, I actually picked 3 Hall of Famers. Number one, and these are, I'm not sure they're all rare, but they're just cool facts. Here is a 1988 Topps Hall of Fame player, Tom Glavine. And if you read the little line below, it says Tom was selected by the Los Angeles Kings in the 1984 NHL draft. So he obviously went on to probably pick the right career, but Tom Glavine was also a drafted hockey player. Sticking with that other sport kind of fame, all-time Padre, Mr. Padre, Tony Gwynn, obviously a very great hitter, one of the best ever. And the Padre just got a win last night, beating the Phillies. But on the back of these big tops, love these as far as the set goes. I have a box that has the 88, 89, and the 90 big top set inside. But I remember reading these as a kid, and they have very, cartoony comic book graphics. But it says Tony was drafted by the NBA San Diego Clippers. And then on the side there, it says he also set a record at San Diego State as far as the assists. So when you think of Tony Gwynn, great hitter, of course, but he also played basketball for San Diego State. So he was obviously a baseball stud, but also drafted in another sport like our buddy Tom Glavine. But we've got a Tony Gwynn. So my third Hall of Famer is actually RJ showed this card on the back on his video about the back of the card. It's got a ton of things here, but if you can see the top, it's very tiny print. Dave Winfield, extraordinary athlete at the University of Minnesota. So that's where he went to school. He earned the distinction of being drafted by 4 different leagues. The NBA by the Atlanta Hawks, the ABA by the Utah Stars, NFL by the Minnesota Vikings, and of course, he played a little baseball as well. I mean, what kind of athlete do you have to be drafted in 4 different sports and leagues, and then also go on to be a Hall of Fame baseball player? 3,000 hit guy, almost had the 500 home runs, but not quite. So I actually picked 3 Hall of Famers, and I remember reading those stats as a super young basement card collector in 1990-ish, 1992, and then so again, I went back to the big tops cards, and again, Mike Maddux is not exactly a name that everybody knows, but in 1989, I remember reading this, and if you see these little graphics again, Mike's brother, a guy named Greg Maddux, it says pitches with the Cubs. It says the two faced one another in 1986. Kind of cool, but in 1989, Greg Maddux was not a Hall of Fame. You need to get his cards. It's just, oh yeah, this guy who is the big brother, Mike, has a little brother named Greg, and he also pitches a little bit. He plays for this team called the Cubs. So I thought, in 1989, I was a Cub fan, of course. I kind of assumed they might be related, but again, the back of this Big Tops card gives me a little extra stat that I would not have known. This would be another solid pitcher. His name is Bryn Smith. And again, that's not really, you know, all that exciting, but check out how he got his name, Bryn. It says Bryn's name comes from the initials of his grandfather. So if you look at his grandfather's name was Baxter Robert Young Nisbet. And so they put those letters together, you come up with the B-R-Y-N, Bryn Smith. So kind of a cool stat that you wouldn't know, like RJ is asking you, unless you read the backs. All right, my last two, I'm going to call these as the no-namers. If you look at the back of this 1999 Topps, it's really nothing all that exciting. This guy's name is Adam Brown. If you've seen the front, Chew Freeman, Rocky favorite. But kind of a cool story about the back of this card. One, the Yankee pitcher, his name is actually Andy Brown. And on the back, there isn't really a stat or a fact that you would learn by reading this, except for this is kind of cool because growing up, I played baseball. I played high school and actually played some college baseball as well. And my summer years leading up to my time in college, I played with a kid from Richmond named Andy Brown. So that senior year, we were on a summer team together, and he was an absolute beast. 6'6", 190. So it's really not a card that you would have known, but it's more of just the back of it, and I've saved all of his cards that I could find. So it's kind of a bummer. It's a rookie card of his, and they put the wrong name on it. So his name is actually Andy Brown, and I played with him for one summer, and he was a stud. He was a first-round pick of the Yankees. We were not, you know, great buddies or anything, but we were on the same summer team for a minute, and he was a stud. So the back of this card, he goes down as my no-namer, but just kind of a cool little factoid about him. And then here's my last no-namer. I'm going to cover up the top of it. It has a ton, but see if you can guess this guy's name. You would not know this unless you read the back. Was a successful minor league career with the Charlotte Hornets of the North Carolina League. Archibald Wright Graham made his major league debut on June 29th, 1905. It was the same day he retired from the professional baseball. He went in to play the outfield. Basically, for 5 quick minutes, it says 3 infield outs were made by the Dodgers and the game was over. Then he retired. Fast forward down to the bottom, and if you've heard of this guy, Archibald W. Moonlight Graham. And so the back of that, obviously, he is the famous Doc Graham from the Field of Dreams. We went out there once to visit, and we bought this at one of the little consignment shops selling there. Moonlight Graham rookie card, pretty cool, and it turns out it was a real story, part of that Field of Dreams movie set and all those good things, but super cool that it's a true story. This is an actual photo of him in the top. Look at that number, look at that box score. 1 game and zeros all the way down. So I bought this there at the Field of Dreams. Super cool, and obviously the movie is a great movie, probably my favorite of all time. So we're gonna call that my no-namer number 3, and really he's pretty famous dude himself. So I will leave a link to RJ's channel. He has a lot of cool things. He does a weekly trivia. He does sends out cool. I won one of his trivia contests once, and he sends out cards all the time. He shows little sets from the past, like those 1980 Fleer cards that are, I love them. League leaders, star cards, the Woolworth sets, the Ames, the Kmart, those box store card sets from the 80s. Super cool, and he collects sets. So if you haven't checked him out, he is doing this contest for a while. I will leave a link to his channel below, but if you haven't, really cool thing. He does a lot of nice things, and he's celebrating that big 300, so congratulations, RJ. Here is my video response, and I will leave a link to his channel, and we will see you next time.